Okay, welcome all of you. Today in this session, I am going to we are going to study the what are the main components of overhead transmission and distribution lines, and what how to determine the estimation of the things. And what are the main? First, we have to check the what are the main components of overhead transmission lines. That is, the in our day-to-day life, we have seen the many overhead transmission lines and distribution lines. That is combined called as overhead lines. So, what are the main components that we have to place at the overhead lines terminal systems, and how to estimate the things? First thing is supporters. So the supporters are very much important for supporting the transmission lines and other accessories. So the poles or towers, depending on the working voltage and the region where these are used. That is, the poles and towers are calculated or taking into the considerations based upon the voltage ratings, and where the actually we are going to place these kind of poles or towers. So depending upon the place and working voltage, we are selecting the supporting structures. And function of the supporters is to support the conductors to keep them suitable level above the ground. So the main working way, main function of the supporters is to support the conductors mechanically and to keep them at some desired levels. And this is about the supporters. The next thing is the cross arms and clamps. The cross arms and clamps are either wood or steel. That is, these are made up of either wood materials or steel materials. In the previous era, that is before the centuries, we were using the wood materials. But as the technology changes, we are changed into steel towers, steel materials. That is, we are using nowadays. We are using steel materials as angle section and are used on port structures to support the insulators and conductors. These cross arms and clamps are mainly used to hold the insulators and conductors along with the supporting structures. So for that purpose, we use mainly cross arms and clamps. Next thing is insulator. Insulators are the things which are mainly used for the purpose of supporting the conductors to the supporting structures, that is for poles or towers, where we are going to support hold the conductors with the help of insulators, and strain or suspending type of conductors are respected. And the next thing is conductors. Conductors are depending upon the current to be carried and the span of the line. Conductors are mainly decided based upon the current carrying ratings. So how much amount of current we need to take them along with the conductors. So based upon the current rating, we are going to select the conductors and the span of the line also. So that is span. Span means the withstanding capacity, the distance between the ground and the lines, that is sag, swell, structures. Depending upon the different terminologies, we are going to decide the conductors. The next thing is guys and stays. These guys and stays are mainly used for the purpose of mechanical strength, giving mechanical strength to our conductors and insulating poles and structures. So these are fastened and to the hole at the termination, and are angles poles to resist the lateral forces. The mainly guys and stays are used for mechanical strengths. Those mechanical strengths are called terminations. Hole at the terminations are giving resistance of lateral forces or in order to fasten the things. So for these purposes, we use guys and stays. Next thing is lightning arresters. Mainly these lightning arresters are used to discharge the excessive voltages. Lightning arresters are mainly used for discharging the excessive voltage that is built up on the line to earth due to lightning. Whenever the lightning strikes or lightning strokes or occurs, at that time we need to discharge the highest amount of or excessive voltage levels along the current carrying conductors, and also to protect our equipments and our substations and our structures, we use lightning arresters. Next thing is fuses and isolating switches. These fuses and isolating switches are also the used for the protective purpose, in order to protect our equipments, and these are placed to isolate the different parts of overhead systems. Fuses are mainly used for the protection of our equipments from higher end voltages or currents, and isolating switches are used for the isolating the different parts of overhead systems. In order to isolate the different parts of overhead system, we use isolating switches. And continuous earth wire. Normally, this continuous earth wire is carried along with the conductors from different supports to supporting structures. These are to run at the top of the towers. Normally, while you are traveling at the outskirts of the cities, you can observe the high voltage lines. High voltage lines where you can see a thin GI wire or aluminum wire like structures, which is normally run at the top of the towers. This is mainly used to protect our supporting structures, that is poles or towers, from the lightning discharges. And V guards. Next thing is the V guards. V guards is used to provide below the bare overhead lines running along or across, how to make the line safe if it is break. If something happens to our line, maybe breaking due to lightning strokes or any atmospheric conditions, if something happens to our line and it breaks at the middle of some structures, then at that time the V guards are mainly used to hold the broken lines to withstand or to avoid reaching the ground and other polling structures. So these are normally placed at the below the bare overhead lines. Next thing is guard wires, and these are provided above or below the power lines. The guard wires and the steel structures are solidly connected to the earth. These guards wires are normally giving the protection of bare overhead lines and also to protect solidly connected to ground with the steel structures. In order to give the solid earthing to these solidly connected to earth, the steel structures are mainly used the guard wires. And phase plates. The phase plates are the naming plates showing the which type of phase is running along the conductors. That is R, Y, B. These are the different phases that we know. In order to differentiate the various phases, that is, in order to differentiate between R, Y, B, we use phase plates. This is a kind of a naming plate which gives the naming of which kind of phase is running along the line. The next thing is bird guards. Bird guards, as name itself indicates, it mainly uses to prevent the flashover due to birds packing on the conductors. Whenever the guards packed on the conductors, in order to prevent the flashover between the lines, we use bird guards. Next thing is danger plate. These are the nameplate or pictorial plate representation to avoid the any passages or warning measures to indicate the working voltage of the line. To indicate the working voltage, as we while traveling the line beside the towers, you people can observe that it's a danger symbol will be there, one danger symbol will be there, and a nameplate showing how much amount of voltage is passing through the lines. So while crossing the railway gates, you can see there will be a signboard of caution, it's dangerous, that is 25,000 volt line is passing along above the road. So like that 25,000 volts, 25 kV volts normally passing along the railway tracks for transportation of locomotion of trains. Like that at the towers, at the supporting structures, there we can see the 220 kV or 750 kV like a warning and dangerous plates. The next thing is a barbed wire. This prevents the climbing of by unauthorized person. In order to avoid the climbing of unauthorized person, that is without technical knowledge people, if something shortens or something hazardous may happens to the persons, so for that purpose, in order to avoid like that persons, we use barbed wires. So these are the very main important components that we can observe in our overhead line. That may be transmission or distribution lines. The next thing is cross arms. What is meant by cross arms? The main function of a cross arm is to keep the conductors at a safe distance from each other and from the pole. In order to keep the conductors at a safe distance from the regular intervals, in order to keep the conductors, the cross arms at a safe distance from the pole. So these cross arms are used for the keeping the safe distance between the pole and the conductors. And these cross arms shall be suitable at strong enough to withstand the result and forces caused by the insulators, their pins. That is, these cross arms should be having the withstanding capacity to withstanding capacity to avoid the forces that is caused on the insulators pins and dead weight of insulators attachments. The pole breakers. The pole brackets and the clamp glands are made of flat iron and are used for fitting for holding service lines with the stay wire, earth wire and shackle insulator cross arms. That is, these pole brackets and clamp glands are made of flat iron. The material that is called flat iron, which is used for the making of clamps and pole brackets, and these are mainly used at the places like fitting for holding the service lines and line stay wires and stay wire earth wires and shackle type insulator cross arms. So like that, these are the different places where we can use the cross arms. The next thing is guys and stays. Mainly the guys and stays are nothing but they maintain the theoretical angle between the pole and the stays should be 45 degree. That is, these guys and stays have the theoretical angle between the pole and stay. In order to make the proper working of the things, materials, we have to maintain the proper angle, that is between the poles and stay should be of 45 degree, and the guy wire does not come into contact with the soil of the ground. That a wire is drawn up until the pole is pulled over the slightly towards the stay in order to keep the proper tension. These guy wires and stay wires are mainly used for the holding of supporting structures without any imbalancing the structures. So while erection of the supporting structures, a normal guy wire is placed in the ground with the some civil structures, civil maintenance, and that wire is drawn up till the pole. From the top end of the pole to the earth, this guy wire is connected, and this the angle made should be 45 degree between the guys and stays. So these guys and stays are normally mainly used for the purpose of giving mechanical strength to the supporting structures. The next thing is span length. The span length, as the length of a span is increases, the number of insulators and supporters decreases. That is, if the span length, in the span length, what happens? If the length of the span is increases, then automatically the number of insulators also increases, and the supports decreases, resulting decreasing cost height. Then the support will go up the length of span, and this depends upon the working voltage. That is, either higher the working voltage of the system, then the automatically the economical length of the span is also increases. That is what we understood from here, as the span length. In the span length, what happens? If the length of the span is increases, the insulating materials that we required for the supporting structures also increases. Automatically the supports decreases, and this decreases the resulting cost of the height of supporting structures. Whatever the supporting structures are, the height cost of that height of the supporting structure increases, and will go up length of the span depends upon the working voltage. This span length is mainly depends upon the working voltage. That is, higher the working voltage of the system, automatically the economical length of the span is also increases. The next thing is lightning arresters. So what is meant by these lightning arresters? These are used to protect the electrical equipment from damages due to the lightning, that whatever the amount due to the atmospheric conditions, a highest amount of lightning may occurs during rainy seasons. At the time, what happens? In order to protect our equipment from these high voltage lightning strikes, we use lightning arresters at each of the our structures. And at the time of lightning, what happens? It automatically opens the circuits. During the normal time, that is without any hazardous conditions, what happens? The lightning arresters are normally in open circuit conditions, and at the time of at that time, what happens? The low impedance for the phase wire to earth, a low impedance path is created between the phase wire to earth, and this short the high voltage effectively. So how actually the lightning arrestor works? During normal conditions, it acts as a short circuit, shorting the line, and during the lightning strokes, what happens? It automatically opens the circuits, closing the circuits, opening the circuits. During normal condition, it's close the circuit. During abnormal conditions, that is when the high voltage forms, at the time what happens? It normally opens the circuits, and it creates a low impedance path between the phase wire to earth, and this automatically decreases the high voltage effectively. The next thing is phase plate. As I told already, is phase plate is having a name plate which showing the which phase is flowing along the line. That is whether it is a R phase, Y phase, B phase, like that. So which kind of phase, in order to make the voltage balance between the each phases, we have to consider the phases of the lines. So in order to make the difference between the each phase, that is whether maybe it is R phase, B phase, or Y phase, we use phase plates. Dangerous plates, beds of jumpers plates, these are mainly to when too many birds and due to their touching the jumpers and poles, the failures of the supply is most frequent. So whenever the most number of birds are sitting on the conducting wires, what happens, due to their touching the jumpers and poles, which failures the suppliers most frequently. And next thing is the muff. Muff is a kind of a device which is a 3 mm thickness buff. These are used for the concreting the poles or towers. That is for at the guys and stays, and these are normally muffs are using. These are of about 3 mm thick sheet into two pieces. That is 3 mm thickness papers of two thick sheet of two pieces will be used, which are detachable at the bottom and top with the overall length of 1.8 meters. For tubular poles and for also structure like supportings, these are normally used. What are the main points to be considered at the time of erection of overhead lines? So if you are after the graduation, if you are a maintenance or if you are maintaining engineer, then you are going to erect the overhead lines at your locations. So at the time, what are the things that you people have to keep in your mind before going to erection of the lines? So we can study the points that one by one. First thing is, there should be a continuous ground wire earth at the substation should be provided. From the substation to the each towers of the lines, a continuous ground wire earth should be provided. Next thing is, the clearance of conductor from the ground and the adjoining should be according to our different Indian electricity rules. There is a span length difference, sag difference. So like that, we have to maintain a proper rules. That is, we have to keep the clearance between the conductors from between the between the different conductors, whether maybe it's a 3, 4 or n number of conductors. We have to keep the conductors at the proper distance. And next thing is, we have to keep the span length, sag length between the least conductor that is nearest to the ground and the proper ground. So that distance should be maintained with preferred following the IE rules. So these are the different IE rules: 77, 78, 79, 80. These are mainly used for the purpose of protection of persons or protection of the neighboring surroundings with the conductors. That is, the clearance of conductors from the ground and the adjoining should be according to the our Indian electricity rules 77, 78, 79 and 80. The next thing is, all the metallic parts, lines, components should be earthed properly according to IER 90. So whatever the different metallic parts that we can see in that we are using in our conductors structures. So these should be properly earthed. The conducting materials, the material parts that are placed in the conducting materials or in our erecting places, these should be properly earthed according to IER 90. And The next thing is permissible spacing between the conductors should be maintained throughout the lines. As I told in while discussing the IE rules 77, 78, 79, 90, the permissible spacing, the distance between the two conductors and the distance between the conductor